So I want to talk about the day that changed my life. And there's more than one day, there's many days, but this particular one was probably the biggest. And right now we're at where what used to be the Sobeys in Montague. It was October 9th, 1991. After school, I'm 11 years old and I'm selling the newspaper, and I see one of the workers coming over and they tell me that I need to get home. We lived walking distance, and I ran home that day, and always looking back on that day, I don't remember the actual steps. I always felt like I was carried home. It was just so effortless, the journey home, but also scary. Where we are now, right in Montague, this is the street I would have ran down at the time, little 11-year-old me. Probably left the newspaper pile there. This is where I ran to, so this is where we used to live, and right here I ran home, and I remember seeing the priest outside and seeing some faces, and that was when I got home and discovered that my father had passed away. So 11 years old, I lost my dad. Definitely the hardest part of my journey, I guess you could say, so far. The day after my father died, I did go to school too, which looking back was kind of weird, but I obviously didn't understand what exactly was going on. Like, even though I heard the words, it didn't sink into me that what had happened was real, I guess. And I could see it on my teacher's face. I knew that they knew that something had happened. And even throughout my teenage years, I actually did carry that with me. I feel like for some reason, I don't know, like my father's death might have been faked, or like I was going to see him in some mall someday, maybe in another city, or just kind of stories I would tell myself just to comfort myself. I don't know why I did that, but like, I guess because you just don't want to believe that someone who's so important and such a big role in your life is going to be gone forever. Things are going to happen to you along the way. And for me, throughout my early teenage years and later years, I didn't deal with it very well. I chose to drink on the weekends and stuff like that. A lot of things, had I known more at the time, I would have saved myself a lot of mistakes and lessons along the way. But I was walking one day, as I often did, just walking along the side of the road. And I looked down and I seen this bottle, and it was clear that it was liquor. I took it home and I talked to my friends. I think this was grade 9, some of my buddies, and we had this plan. We were going to do our first drinking, and that was the first night I ever drank, and I got drunk, and I remember being so intoxicated that I could barely stand up. I was falling, but one thing that stood out to me was like any of the pain or confusion I had was like temporarily kind of turned off, and that's something that felt good, like for someone who's not quite understanding what's going on, and you've got this pain inside of you, and it just turns it off, right? It turns off all the bad emotions, all the sadness and whatever, and that turned into what was a long, bad path of weekend binge drinking that probably lasted from grade 9, probably well into my 20s, every weekend. And I'm talking blackout drunk. Like, it's a wonder why I didn't let that continue through the week, through the rest of my life. I consider myself grateful that I didn't, let alcohol take over 7 days a week versus how it did just on the weekends. And man, so many hangovers, so many things. They say a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts, and I don't believe that. I've said things when I was drunk, and I don't even think it was English. I don't even know what it was. But so when I was in grade 1, my best friend, he lived here, was Brent Farnham. If you're watching this in Calgary, Brent, hey. And they were such a great family. I loved going to their house. Like, we had 8 kids in my family growing up, and a bit of craziness there and stuff. And to go to Brent's, and him and his 2 brothers and his mother and his father, they were a very nice family, lots of love. And I always enjoyed going there. And I feel like just being around their family kind of shaped me into the man I am today, or they played a role in, a lot of the good attributes I do have. And so we're almost at the graveyard in Cardigan, and I remember I came back probably the first time in my early 20s just to visit the gravestone, because I knew you gotta face your past, right? Otherwise it's gonna weigh you down. So as heavy as it was, I knew I wasn't gonna get the future I wanted for myself unless I healed myself. And in order to do that, I had to go to these places like the graveyard and face the past and face it head on. And I think it's important, and it served me so incredibly well doing that. The first time I went to go visit his gravestone, I cried, and it just ate me up, and now it's like every month I go there. I'll be going through a hard time, maybe through work or something like that, and I'll literally ask, I'll be, Dad, I need you now. If there's anything you can do, even if it's 1% of anything to help me with this, now's the time. I need you. And maybe it works, I don't know. But what does work is actually talking about it and getting out there. And I'm happy I've done that. Now I'm happy I can actually drive through these areas and be more comfortable versus, the past, where it would just be a lot of, and it's still sad, right? I feel like I'm kind of healed enough to the point where I do cope with it very well, my past. But what I really want to get across to people is, maybe you've had a rough past, right? And we've all got a story. Mine's just my story. I can tell because it's mine. I've lived it. And I guess what stuck with me the most is that I've always felt like life either happens to you, your victim, or it happens for you. And what are you going to learn from it? For me, it was always like, okay, as these bad things happen, what's the lesson to be learned here? And how can I teach this to my kids? And how can I be stronger because of it? And on that note, it's like, yeah, you know what? Life is hard, and bad things are going to happen to you, but you can't be the victim. You got to turn it around, because the hard things you go through will set you up for more hard things. And once you get used to doing it, you develop that sort of winning attitude, and the winning attitude is what gets you the winning results, right? And if you can help other people think that way, or persuade them the benefits of being like that, then that's a win all around. And that ties into your legacy as a man or woman or person. For me, I want to be remembered for those kind of things, right? But it starts right at home for my kids. It's all about my kids. If you want to go back as far as I can remember, I remember being, and my memory tells me 4 or 5 or whatever, and in the summertime I remember being in the front yard, sort of out far in the field, and looking at the house and kind of feeling like there's just more to life than just what we know. There's more. I remember being a dreamer and just optimistic by nature, even as a little kid. One of my first memories is literally, I had this feeling of, curiosity and wonder, and want to see the world outside of this little area I grew up in. And I still have that. I still got a little bug that's inside of me. I don't know why I have that. I don't know where it came from. And I think it's a gift. It served me well, and we can accomplish so much.